Leading up to South Carolina's first SEC road test of the season, there was so much talk made about the Gamecocks and the way they performed against Old Dominion last week, only winning 23-19, and also couple that with the fact that a lot of people were talking about how good this Kentucky Wildcat team could be with all the guys they have returning on defense, talking about, how they're favored by this many points and all that. Shane Beamer didn't bring that up once, right? Obviously, he knew there were things to correct with this team from last week, but not once did he mention the fact that, South Carolina is going to be an underdog this week. They're Kentucky's favored by 10 points, all this and that. And it led to South Carolina playing very well today, and they picked up a shocking to most. There are a few people like myself who did pick South Carolina to win today, so I'm going to stand on business and call it for what it is. But the Gamecocks surprised a lot of people here in Lexington and picked up a 31-6 win here on Saturday in Lexington to move to 2-0 on the season for the first time since year one of the Shane Beamer era, when the Gamecocks did start out 2-0 with wins over Eastern Illinois and East Carolina back in 2021. So this is a big game that had a lot of stakes, right? Whoever won this game was really set up well for the rest of the season with bowl eligibility and all that stuff. Like, we're not talking about Kentucky being college football playoff contender, and neither was South Carolina. But these are two evenly matched teams to where whoever wins this game is more likely than not going to probably make a bowl game and have a good year. Whereas the other team, you start the discussions of maybe the hot seat with Mark Stoops or Shane Beamer, and the potential of having a down year because Kentucky plays Georgia next week and South Carolina plays at home versus LSU. So it's very tough sledding from here for both teams, but South Carolina was able to come in here and do what a lot of people didn't think they could do. It starts on offense. There were so many questions about this group, and rightfully so, about the way they threw the football. It was not pretty last week. Lenore Sellers made his first career start at quarterback for South Carolina, taking over after Spencer Rattler, and did not look the part of a veteran, seasoned, experienced, ready-to-go quarterback. He struggled, and it's going to happen. It's not totally surprising, but also a big part of it has to do with the fact that South Carolina's receiving corps didn't really do much to help him with not getting open, not blocking enough, not catching the football. So there was a lot that went wrong in the passing game. But today, while the stat line might not say that South Carolina had the best day throwing the football, it was a significant improvement in my opinion. Lenoris looked a lot more comfortable out there. He, at the start of the game, first touchdown South Carolina scored to open the scoring in this game, fires a 24-yard touchdown pass to Mazio Bennett, who was, for some reason, left open by Kentucky's defense. So it was a break in the defense by the Wildcats, and South Carolina took advantage and exposed that weakness, and it was a really nice play to open the scoring and get the passing game going, because that's what they needed today to get into a little bit of a rhythm. As the first half goes on, the struggles come back for South Carolina's offense, and going into the half, they're only up 10-6, but the defense, throughout the entire first portion of this season, with 2 games so far, man, this defense has been absolutely outstanding. Today, they had 5 sacks, 11 tackles for loss, and 2 interceptions, one of which was a fourth quarter pick 6 that essentially put the game on ice by Nicky Minwari, and was just an absolutely standout day. They made Brock Vandegrift's life absolute, to put it bluntly, absolute hell out there on the field. And Vandegrift only completed 3 passes for 30 yards, had an interception, like I said, and it was just an ugly day. And this forced Kentucky to run the football a lot more. I know at one point, I think they ran the ball 11 straight times, and it led to a field goal in the first half. But, I mean, outside of that, they never got into the end zone. And that's a big credit to Clayton White, every position coach involved in this defense, because they do an outstanding job. And everything they did in the final month of last season has seemingly carried over into this year and been so much better. Let's get back to the offense, though, for a second. Second half, Lenoris fumbles twice. Luckily, his guys got on it and recovered on the opening drive of the second half when South Carolina got the ball. But it wasn't pretty. Then Dylan Stewart on the next possession for Kentucky gets a third down sack, and it sets the tone for South Carolina to go back out there and make some big plays. It starts with the 4th and 1 offsides call on Kentucky. That changed everything because you're at the 50-yard line and you have a first down, and now you're in Wildcat territory to where you can make some things happen. And then from there, Bennett was left wide open again, this time for a 32-yard gain. And then from there, Sellers connected with Josh Simon in the end zone for a 16-yard touchdown. And at that point, it's like 17-6. And then, like I said before, South Carolina scored again on Nikki Minwari's pick 6. And Rocket Sanders scored a touchdown today, too. So, again, a 25-point blowout for the Gamecocks, an absolute surprise. Like, look, I picked South Carolina to win 19-17 today. I don't even think I could have tell you that this team was going to win by 25 today. I don't think anyone could in their right mind. And it's okay. It's understandable because of how this team played last week. And look, a lot of people doubted this team. They thought this team is not going to make a bowl game. Maybe Shane Beamer needs to be on the hot seat, get fired, whatever the case might be. I think a lot of people's tunes about this team, it is only 2 games after all, and it is only 1 really good win. But I think a lot of people's perception of this team is getting back to maybe what it was at the end of 2022 when they had those signature wins over top 10 teams like Tennessee and then Clemson to end the year. I think it is 1 game, but I do think South Carolina is on the right track to where they're playing great defense. Special teams has been good. Alex Herrera was very good today. And shout out Kai Kroger because he also had a very good game. Vintage 2022 style, in my opinion at least. And then the offense, while I think, in my opinion, it's probably the weakest part of this team, they showed a lot of progress today. And if they play like this, if they play the way they did today, just a little better, there's no telling what this team could do. I'm not saying, get your playoff tickets ready and all that sort of stuff. That is not what I'm saying. But the path to a bowl game, getting there, getting to 6 wins and getting back on track to what you did in 2022 is a lot more attainable now because you won this game today and you're off to a 2-0 start with LSU coming into town next week. And speaking of which, that is going to be a massive game in the SEC. Noon kickoff, ABC, next Saturday in Columbia. Hopefully it will be rocking. I will be there along with some of my fellow coworkers at Gamecock Central. So be sure to stay locked in because that is going to be a huge game. And a lot's going to be at stake just like every week from now on for South Carolina. And a lot more people are going to be paying attention to this team and what they do. But I think this team is ready for it, and I think they can handle it because of the way they play. So that's going to do it for all from now from Lexington. Be sure to stay locked into GamecockCentral.com for all coverage the rest of today, tomorrow, going on the rest of the season. And that'll do it for now. For GamecockCentral.com, I'm Jack Veltri.